Welcome to Carol's Kitchen. On today's show, I will be making baked potato soup and pumpkin spice pudding torts. Our guest vocalist is Jonathan Andrews, a sophomore math major and music minor at Maranatha Baptist University. And in today's story, I may or may not give CPR to a chipmunk. You'll just have to stay tuned to find out one way or the other. So let's get to it. The first item we'll be preparing today is baked potato soup. So we start out, I've got this soup pot, it's already heated up to 350 degrees, and I have 3 tablespoons of bacon grease that I'm going to put in here. Now, where do I get the bacon grease? Well, the last time I made BLTs, I drained the bacon grease off and put it in the refrigerator and saved it there. And if you don't have bacon grease, you could use butter or margarine, would be fine. But my goodness, this really smells good. And I prepared, already cut up, half of a medium onion, which is about a half a cup of onion. Now I've used red onion because I like the idea of the color in the soup. But if you prefer your potato soup to be more white looking, you certainly can use yellow or white onions. But put that in with here, and we'll get them cooking. While they are cooking, we are going to prepare the thickening and the potato that goes on the inside. The first element we add, amazing but true, what makes this so easy, is a cup and a half of instant potatoes. Doesn't matter what brand, instant potatoes. Here I have combined 1/4 cup of cornstarch and 4 tablespoons of flour. And that will be our thickening agent. Added to this, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Some people who do a similar soup to this buy garlic flavored instant potatoes, and that perhaps would work fine. Here's 1 teaspoon of salt, and then 3/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. And this is in a half teaspoon, so it's sort of like a half teaspoon generous for our salt and our pepper. Moving on down, a half a teaspoon of basil leaves, the dried basil, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of thyme, T-H-Y-M-E. So there's a little bit of an Italian feel to this recipe with the basil and the thyme added to it and the garlic, but trust me, it is wonderful. So we'll mix these all together, and let's see how the onions, oh, they're nice and starting to get brown. And wow, does that smell good. We will add 32 ounces, 4 cups of chicken broth. And 2 cups of just plain old water. Mix those together nicely. Hopefully that will come to a boil fairly soon, but meanwhile we will add our potato mixture that we've already combined. So you're saying, but you said this is baked potato soup. Well, I've got it covered. I'm whisking this fairly quickly so there's no lumps, and there are no lumps, so yay. That is good, just the way you want it. What I did in advance was I took 2 to 3 red potatoes and I diced them and I microwaved them. So it's roughly 2 cups. This was 3 smaller potatoes, so it was a little bit more than 2 cups. And I microwaved it for about 11 minutes. And depending upon the strength, the power of your microwave, 8 to 11 minutes would be good. Now it's already coming to a boil. So it'll thicken up here pretty quickly. Yep, it's thickening up. So these are already done. You could perhaps bake them ahead of time, take an hour, but I'm all for doing things fast and yummy. Again, I used red potatoes and I left the skins on because I like the color added to the soup. If you prefer your soup to be more white, you could use Yukon Gold potatoes and leave the skins on or peel them, or russet potatoes, but then you definitely wouldn't want to peel those. So let me add this, our 2 cups of baked potatoes to the mix. And that is, we'll let it come to a boil. Meanwhile, a lot of recipes call for bacon. You say, where's the bacon? Well, we've got bacon grease, which goes a long way for the flavor. And a lot of recipes say that you should fry bacon, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But again, for the quick way to do this, the quick and yummy way to do it, I discovered, commercial for Aldi's, that they have these real bacon bits that are not the crispy, fakey kind. They're actually really bacon bits. And I've started using them in a lot of things. And so I took 1/4 cup of the bacon bits out to use to garnish it at the end. But I'm just going to add the whole package. And wow, you instantly have sometimes what people would call loaded baked potato soup. So we'll let this simmer for a while, and when we serve it, we will garnish it with shredded cheddar cheese and some more bacon bits and maybe a little parsley. If you're looking for something fresh, you could also garnish it with green onions cut up or even green peppers. So we'll let this cook for a while and we'll come back a little while later. So we've let the potato soup cook for a while, and the last thing we need to add is 1 cup of half and half. And boy, does that make it rich. If, when all is said and done, that it starts getting too thick, and that has not been the case for me as yet, that you could add a little milk to make it less thick, but I'm guessing you're not going to need to do that. So we'll let it cook its final segment now. The first song Jonathan Andrews will sing today is Passing By Edward C. Purcell. This Edward Purcell is often confused with another Edward Purcell, who was the son of the famous Baroque composer Henry Purcell. The fellow who wrote this song was born Edward Purcell Cormac in 1853. Years later, perhaps trying to link himself with this family of famous composers, he flipped his middle and last names, creating a pseudonym, and became known as Edward Cormac Purcell. Well, the whole pseudonym thing didn't work very well, for history shows that the only song that he is known for is the one that Jonathan is going to sing for us today, passing by.
So pleased my mind, I did but see her passing by, and yet I love her till I die. Her gesture, motion, and her smiles, her wit, her voice, my heart beguiles, beguiles my heart, I know not why, and yet I love her till I die. Cupid is winged and doth range her country, so my love doth change. But change she earth or change she sky, yet will I love her till I die.
Next, we're going to make pumpkin spice pudding torts. Really, really simple. You start with 4 bowls, pudding size sauce dishes. For each bowl, there are 3 ginger snaps that you just need to break up and put in the bottom. And it actually works best just to do exactly what I'm doing here, rather than try to crush them and make it be like a pie crust, because that's not exactly what you're after, because you want pieces that people can actually spoon out. Very simple. 3 ginger snaps. The second layer is banana, and I've taken 1 large banana and cut it into 4 quarters, and each of these I will slice into several pieces and layer them on top of the ginger snaps in each bowl. So just a really basic kind of dicing process. Try to get it as even as possible. And it's kind of a little discovery. As you're eating it, you keep finding things, and it's a yummy adventure. If you don't have 1 large, you could have like 2 small bananas. And I guess if you really like banana a whole lot more, you could put in more. But there's just only so much room in the dish. Next, probably between the 4 bowls, you use about a 1/4 cup of raisins. So just a handful of raisins. I guess it'd be like a 1/16 of a cup in each one. And next, we will make the pudding. And this is instant pudding, instant vanilla pudding. This happens to be sugar-free. And doesn't matter what brand you use. And 2 cups of milk added to it. You have to whisk for, they say, 2 minutes. And so it depends upon how fast, maybe how cold the milk is, how quickly it congeals. Of course, you could use cooked pudding if you desired, but again, I'm all about trying to make things just as fast and tasty as possible. Now you say pumpkin spice, where's the pumpkin spice come in? There's no pumpkin actually in this, but we're using pumpkin pie spice to garnish the top with. And now it's starting to get thick. So I'm going to kind of evenly, the best I can evenly, cover up the top of these other layers of ginger snaps, bananas, and raisins. Okay, that's our first run by. So let me grab this spatula and try to evenly spread out the remaining 2 cups of pudding and try to cover the ingredients below, but that isn't necessary, I guess for the sake of surprise perhaps. All right, so here comes the pumpkin pie spice. And the interesting thing about that is, you gotta kind of be careful. I kind of like to shake it before I start because I want it to just be a sprinkling of pumpkin spice, pumpkin pie spice on the top of each pudding tort. And the final crowning jewel is a dollop of whipped topping. And I like the idea of maybe adding just another mini sprinkle on the top of the whipped cream to kind of tie it into the idea of pumpkin spice. There you go, a beautiful dessert in record time. Jonathan's next song, written by Samuel Little, is a great example of the song form ABA, meaning that the first and last sections of the song are similar with a contrasting section in the middle. Well, this musical plan worked beautifully for Samuel Little in his setting of Psalm 84, entitled, "How Lovely Are Thy Dwellings," in which the psalmist extols the wonders of eternity in heaven with God Himself.
Dwellings, O Lord of hosts, my soul longeth, yea, fainteth for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. May the sparrow have found her an house, and the swallow a nest where she may lay her young. Even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Keeper in the house of my God, pretense of wickedness. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. How lovely are thy dwellings, O Lord of hosts! My soul longeth, yea, fainteth for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. May the sparrow hath found her an house, and the swallow a nest where she may lay her young. Even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God.
Our story today is entitled Saving Chip. It was Sunday morning. I was about to leave for church when I heard a chipmunk chirping away rather vociferously, and he sounded close by. Sure enough, the little critter was sitting on the sill of my living room window. At first, I thought he was sitting on the outside sill, but a closer investigation revealed that the chipmunk was on the inside sill. How could that have happened, I wondered? Then I recalled leaving the garage door open the day before while doing yard work. Chip probably wandered inside the garage then. And later in the evening, I had propped open the inside door while I carried groceries in from the car. That's when Chip must have wandered inside the house. I looked at my watch. There was no time to deal with Chip now. That would have to wait until I got home from church. For the time being, to save the chipmunk from becoming my cat's breakfast or plaything, I slid the front window closed with Chip in his new, albeit narrow, holding cell. A couple hours later, when I returned, Operation Saving Chip commenced. First, I removed my salivating cat from his guard perch next to the front window and put him outside on the side porch, which at that time was enclosed by goat wire. Next, my best hands-off course of action for dispatching Chip was to remove the window screen from the outside, which I did, and then encourage him to jump down. Jump, Chip, jump, you're free, buddy. Chip must have been directionally challenged or simply freaked out, for instead of running straight forward onto the lawn, he ran around the house right onto the side porch where I had just put my cat Midnight. No, I shrieked, running to his rescue, but it was too late. Chip was already in Midnight's mouth, looking quite dead. I took the chipmunk away from Midnight and carefully examined him. There was no blood or visible punctures, but he was not breathing. Chip, buddy, you can't be dead, I pleaded. Not after all I did to save you. I was not willing to give up just yet, so I tried to revive Chip. I laid him on the lawn on the other side of the house, as far away from Midnight as I could possibly get, and gently began doing CPR. Yes, chipmunk CPR. I worked on him at length, but with no response. I decided to get Chip some water and kitty kibble, which I put in 2 jar lids, you know, in case he resurrected and was hungry and thirsty. I know, I was in denial. I stroked his fur, I sweet-talked him, and all to no avail. Finally, I trudged inside, leaving Chip and his jar lids on the lawn. But as the saying goes, hope springs eternal. About 20 minutes later, I went to check on Chip, and he was gone. Nowhere to be found. His resurrection repast untouched. I suppose some neighborhood cat could have spirited him away for an afternoon snack, but I like to think Chip had only swooned, and when he came to, he raced home to the safety of his family, vowing never again to venture into strange garages. Now, a resurrected cat is more than a stretch of the imagination. It is an impossibility. But I do know someone who truly rose from the dead, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, whose death, burial, and resurrection paid my sin debt and the sin debt of anyone in the world who will accept it. In fact, the Gospel of John records these words Jesus spoke to Martha. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never, never die, shall never, never die. Believest thou this? The end. American composer Harry Thacker Burleigh played a significant role in the development of American art song, having composed more than 200 songs in the genre. He became well known, especially for his arrangements of traditional spirituals in a classical style. And such is the case with the song Jonathan's going to sing for us now, Deep River, which immortalizes the metaphor of death being like crossing the Jordan River.
Gospel feast, that promised land where all is peace. Oh, deep I want to cross over into campground.
Thank you, Jonathan, for sharing your musical abilities with the audience today. We're ready to dig in to our food items, which are the baked potato soup, which is garnished now with cheddar cheese, bacon bits, and some parsley. And then we will also eat the pumpkin spice pudding tortes. So let's sing our blessing before we dig in.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly host. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.
All right, let's eat. For free copies of today's recipes, you may call 920-262-4021 or email watertowntv@cityofwatertown.org. This program is available to view on demand at watertowntv.com or at the City of Watertown's YouTube channel. Thanks for watching today. Please join us again next time for Carol's Kitchen.